Next one is actually kind of a special story. Western Alaska Minerals, they're listed on the TSX Ventures Exchange and the ticker symbol WAM. This is actually a relatively new public company, but the company itself has been around for a very long while. And Mr. Mars here is going to tell us more about it. So, Kid, take it away.
There we go. Well, thank you, and thank you all for joining me today. And also, I don't know if Kai is here, but I want to thank Kai for inviting us to come to his German Gold Show. It'd be our first time here, and would like to mention that Kai did visit the project this summer, so he got to have a first-hand view. So just a slide right here just shows you what the terrain looks like in Western Alaska. We do have a lot of local infrastructure, such as the airstrip shown here, and the camp. This very important is a brownfields project. So the Illinois Creek Gold Mine was in production for about 5 years in 1997, 2002. The key here, what is the opportunity? We are a post-discovery and growing company. Exceptionally high grade is really the hallmark example of the drill core here. This is what is known as a carbonate replacement deposit system. Zinc, silver, and lead. And recently we've added gallium to that with some of our assays from our metallurgical work that's ongoing. What makes us stand out is that we really have a tier 1 project and tier 1 assets. So number one, there's been a discussion on some of the other projects. Question of permitting always comes up, so I'd just like to mention that we are in 100% on state of Alaska owned land. Our access is also state of Alaska land. Very permitting friendly environment. We have 5-year exploration permits at a time. We're part of the Alaska Large Mine Permit team, which is run by the governor's office. And a project, another company that isn't here, Contango, just put in production a joint venture gold project with Kinross that broke ground 2 months ago, and that was after a 2-year permitting timeframe. So we have a 100% owned property. It's a district scale opportunity originally discovered by Anaconda Copper Company in the 1980s. And our team, I'll mention in a minute, has a great discovery track record between Joe Pekenbrock, myself, and our VP of Exploration, Andy West. We have over 100 years of exploration success in Alaska. So a little bit about our location. Far western Alaska is shown in the upper slide, but more importantly, we can have access to deep water ocean-going barge out of the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Vancouver area. And the mouth of the Yukon River is about 130 miles downstream. The lower part of this slide just shows our proximity to some of the major mines in Alaska. Fort Knox and Kinross's large open pit in Fairbanks is about 250 miles to the east. Northern Star operates the Pogo mine in that area. Very importantly, Teck's Red Dog deposit, which is the second largest zinc deposit in the world, is about 500 kilometers north of us. And Donlin Gold, a very prominent pending development story, is to the south. Moving in a little bit shows our 73,000 acres of state of Alaska claims, 5 different deposits, including a copper deposit, our flagship Water Pump Creek, which is lead, zinc, silver, plus gallium, and the past producing Illinois Creek mine is shown there. So I mentioned infrastructure. We do have quite a bit of local infrastructure. I want to mention we own all our own equipment, own our own camp, and own our own drilling equipment, so we don't have to fly things in and out. That's a C-130 Hercules shown in the upper left, 4,400 foot airstrip that we use to bring in heavy equipment when we need to. Very importantly, the Yukon River is only 28 miles or 42 kilometers to the west, and that ultimately will be the barge port location. This project would produce a lead concentrate that contains silver and a zinc concentrate. We are in Western Alaska. There are numerous 3 or 4 local Alaska Native villages in the area. We've been working since 2016 on a local hire program. We have very large involvement. Last year, 15 local employees, and our payroll is about $275,000 US for the local villages. So that may not sound like a lot, but we are the largest private employer in the area. Touch on our capital structure. Again, we stand out here with a very simple, clean capital share structure. My wife, Joan, joins us here today as co-founder. She and I and a few of our directors still maintain about 32% ownership. Our institutions we're very proud of, Crescat Capital out of Denver, Delbrook Capital in Vancouver, and of course, Willem Middelkoop's Commodity Discovery Fund. Willem is here today, our large shareholders. So fully diluted value, including warrants and options, would be 55 million shares. Current value is right around market cap around 56 million Canadian. We just published our third quarter financials yesterday, to be exact, and so the question is always asked about the cash balance. Today is about 2 million US, or about 2.7 million Canadian. As I mentioned, I want to point out that this is a past producing mine area, so it's really a brownfield site. Important takeaway here is that the Illinois Creek operating mine, even though it had a very short mine life, went into production with gold less than $300 per ounce. This was a fully permitted, fully operational open pit gold mine, actually the first in Alaska. So it does show that you can permit a mine at the site, which in today's permitting environment is very important. We have multiple assets to great value in the company. Prior to our rediscovery of the Water Pump Creek high-grade deposit, we were in the process of re-permitting the past-producing mine. That was the going public resource of approximately 525,000 ounces of gold equivalent. But really the key going forward will be the Water Pump Creek deposit. We anticipate announcing a maiden resource in the first quarter of 2024. Again, that will be very high grade and principally silver, zinc, and lead. In 2016 to 19, we actually spent quite a bit of time exploring the Round Top copper deposit. It's been on hold with low copper prices since then, but it's very important. It is an acid-soluble oxide copper deposit that's starting to generate additional interest. Management team mentioned the multiple years of experience we have. Joe Pekenbrock in the center was the VP of Exploration for Nova Gold during the discovery of the Donlin project, later the Galore Creek project in BC. Numerous awards there, but very importantly, Dr. Peter McGaw has been heavily involved in the project for the last several years. Peter's been on site several times and is a very important part of our exploration planning going forward. High grade is really the key. This is an example of our rediscovery hole in 2021. I have a sample of this drill core with me. If you'd like to take a look at it after the presentation, you can see the grades here is half a kilo plus of silver, 22.5% zinc, and 14.4 lead. So that is the key takeaway is the high grade. This would be a low footprint underground mining operation, not a large open pit. Luke Tenhavi is, I believe, here at this conference, and he provided the slide for us that this shows the combination of very high grade with very thick intercepts, and Western Alaska's Water Pump Creek deposit falls right in the center, the sweet spot of that. So it's a combination of both, and it just shows the potential. Mentioned Peter McGaw, his checklist is shown here of world-class carbonate replacement deposits. This is in a new area of Alaska for this type of deposit. But as you can see here, we now have provided just about all the checkpoints that Peter has on his list. One of the things that Peter provides is a comparison of Water Pump Creek to Tintic and Santa Eulalia in Mexico, some of the most famous carbonate replacement deposits in the world. So On the far right, these maps are all at the same scale. The Water Pump Creek mineralization is shown in the small red chili pepper shape. This is to show the scale of the project. We are 8 kilometers from the past producing Illinois Creek gold, silver, copper deposit, which we believe and Peter believes is the center of the carbonate replacement system shown here. These are very long-lived deposits. Santulele was in production for over 300 years and produced about 700 million ounces of silver. What Peter also brings is some exploration tools. A very quick example, it's fun to look at. The lower box is relatively unmineralized dolomite, but it's very close to known mineralization. The upper photo is the same box with a shortwave ultraviolet light, and it shows this, what Peter calls barbecue rock. This is an exploration tool that he introduced to the project that we use in drill targeting. It has been very successful. We have discovered, we haven't announced the resource, so I can't quote a number yet publicly, but that will come out in the first quarter. This shows what we've accomplished in 2 years of drilling. This is a long section that shows the upper oxide and then the lower sulfide zones, again, very high grade. This now is turned into a 3-dimensional model. So this shows what has been turned over to the resource engineers. We're just starting on the resource. This is not the end-all story, but really the maiden resource we hope to come out with again in first quarter. This just depicts the 3-dimensional shape of the sulfide bodies that are undergoing study right now. We're almost out of time, so I won't talk about this other than we have a number of other exploration tools. This is a 3-dimensional geophysical survey that was accomplished this year. Again, the mineralization is shown in the left-hand side. This just shows the scale and potential of this one particular zone shown by the geophysical anomaly. We have 2 to 3 kilometers of open area to test, and then the lower part of that anomaly is heading back towards the past producing mine. So we have several years of targeting to do. This will require quite a bit of drilling, but again, potential is really the big story. This is a plan map, again, that shows the location of Water Pump Creek up to the north, the past producing mine in the lower center, and this has been shown now by our drilling, geophysics, and geology to be one large carbonate replacement system. Again, very high potential. So in 2023, we accomplished a number of our goals, completed the infill drilling and expansion for a maiden resource at Water Pump Creek. We feel we are about 70% of the way towards a commercial size resource. We hope to accomplish that in the next year to 2 years of drilling. We completed engineering on an access road to the Yukon River. Sulfide metallurgy is underway right now, and numerous baseline studies have been completed. So the goal coming up this year will be, again, our maiden resource. We'll be building on that, and we think will be a very important catalyst to support the share price going forward in 2024. So with that, this is just an example of the past producing mine, and just Joan and I would like to thank you for your time, and we're both available for the next 2 days to answer any questions. So that's all we have. So.
Does anybody have any questions right now? Don't worry, you've got time, because lunch is going to be about 10 minutes late. I was just informed, unfortunately. So, but you have time for questions. No questions? I do have one, Kit. How far up the process do you see yourself specifically taking this thing? Because you're going to be coming out with an MRE. When do you start looking for a strategic or potentially for someone to buy it off you?
Well, that process goes hand in hand. So we've actually the last 2 years have had several site visits from both mid-tier and major mining companies. The grade is really what excites these companies, and we have I can't name any of those because they're all subject to confidentiality agreements, but we have four or five that are ongoing right now. And our goal would be to advance the project in the next year to 2 years to reach approximately 120 million ounces of silver equivalent. We think we're about 70% of the way there. That would provide a 10-year mine life or a 12-year mine life at about 10 million ounces a year silver equivalent production. That, I think, is the threshold for a commercial operation at this location.
All right, and what did you have? $2.1 million in cash right now, I believe.
Yes, our third quarter, that's about $2 million US or 2.7 million Canadian. We're a US company going public in Canada, so we report both US and Canadian dollars. It gets a little confusing which one sometimes.
Must be fun to think in feet and in meters all the time too. How far does that get you, the $2 million?
That'll carry us into next year, but it will not fund the size and extent of exploration program we would like to do next year. The goal in the exploration business is to go as fast as you can. We have all our own drilling equipment that is on site, fully paid for. So we will be doing a financing or different alternatives. So in this type of a market, whether a straight equity financing is the best for our existing shareholders, we'll wait and see. Could be a royalty, a strategic investment from a major. We have a number of alternatives that we're in discussions in now. So we'll let you know in the first quarter.
Thank you.
What happens there.
It's I can almost smell the lunch now. So yeah, thank you, and we'll be back right after lunch.
Okay, thank you.